Yeah, keep doing that, Julia. Come on, get pumped up for the show. I try to get her to do some exercise, get that blood moving between her heart and her head as we get going here from Studio B at the Beach Street Yacht Club for our Friday show this week. Thank you for joining us, and our co-host Julia Vadekint, the Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club. I'm your host, Tom Eman. We got a great show ahead for you, and let's get right into it. On the starting line for show number 913, happy Friday and happy big intermittent fasting day, or big something else that's related. Feedback from Tuesday's monologue. Thank you very much for your many, many, many comments. My plan to protect and revitalize I can't spell Olympic though. You know, it's when I type.
Yes.
I type Olympic backwards, O-L-M-Y.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for years. I got to have some kind of a spell check that auto fixes that, because it must be so used to me spelling it wrong that it accepts it. Olympic sailing coaching corner. We have two John Emmett coaching corners. One report from Melbourne from the other day, and then his report today from Sydney. Sail GP Sydney. Mother Nature sets the stage for an unusual weekend of weather. It's rainy and going to be on and off rainy apparently all weekend. Middle range winds 13 give or take knots. Brendan Casey, bravo Zulu to him, the first Aussie to win the Finn World Masters. That wrapped up at the Royal Queensland. Alistair has a brilliant triple AAAA. That's a quadruple A. Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote and his latest project to support Australian Olympic sailing to the tune of $1 million of money that he is and his friends are raising. The eighth, say again?
Terrific.
Isn't it great?
Yeah. Yes.
It's fantastic. The eighth Olympic class regatta, the Portugal Grand Prix, is underway in beautiful Vila Moura. Fantastic spot that is down there in the Algarve. Near the and last leg, bravo Zulu to Argo and to Blackjack, who are the line honors winners in the RORC's Caribbean 600. We have a special this day in history, Julia. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and of course, our fantastic Fozy. Speaking of whom, there's a bunch of them. And look at all the people in the chat already. Peter Stevenson saying it's going to be a hot night in Sydney. Do you know why, Julia?
They're going to play.
They're going to a party. Apparently, there's a big parade and party in Sydney. I had to look it up to see what was going on. Larry Kennedy, hola from the thawing. He says it's thawing out in the FIDI, the financial district of New York City. Peter Taylor is back in New York City, I believe, after some more travel. Fair winds for tonight's show. Christopher Gillingham is saying, thank you, sir. Christopher and Jane Gillingham over in Leamington. There's Alistair. I didn't think he was going to be on, but he's saying greetings from my car. He's driving the 4 hours back to Melbourne from Meetung so he can get the plane to Sydney for Sail GP and be at the party tonight with the other super Fozy. Chris Exley, hello from sunny, melting Salem, Mass. Ed Worley saying hi from up here in NorCal. Andrew McIrvin, hello, Mr. Doctor.
Yes, indeed.
From the BBC in London.
Woo.
I wonder what he's doing at the BBC. Unless it means something else than the British Broadcasting Corp. Yes. Clayton Embley in Kentucky, usually. Thanks, Clayton. Gordon Smith. Good evening to Gordon in Denmark. Sailors take care of each other. Yes, they do indeed. And nice sentiment from Gordon Smith just outside of Copenhagen. Peter Reckenberry also saying hello from Australia. J. Frederick Bland, who's on the mend down in Texas, come through a tough health challenge. And he's doing well. He says details on request. So ping him if you want to know more about his episode. And he's come good, I think. Fritz Mueller, hi from beautiful Miami. They got the Star class, the midwinters, the other things going on next week or the week after is the Bacardi Cup.
Ooh,
and they got some other racing going. Hello, Warren Schasser, and he's also in Oz. And he's also echoing our congrats to Brendan Casey winning the Finn World Masters. Rick Banner was saying hello from almost warmer Connecticut with snow rolling back in. Yeah, you're going to have another snowstorm in the Northeast, but not nearly the record-setting blizzard you had on Monday or so, one reads. Greg Phillips checking in from the Gold Coast. Thanks, Greg, for your cartoons again. He's become Julie, our biggest contributor of cartoons.
Good for him.
Greg Phillips in the Gold Coast. John Collings also in Melbourne, or in Oz, but in Melbourne. And Philip laughing, of course, in my favorite neck of the woods, Davis Island Yacht Club, Tampa, Florida, where I raced a lot as a kid in the fireball class. Hello from Cape Town, Ted Ryman. And I've yet to meet Ted. Julia, you haven't met Ted, but everybody says he's one of the coolest cats.
Yes.
Among all the Fozy, super or otherwise. The Taylors were there and hung out with him in South Africa a few weeks ago, and they just had a blast.
I'm sure they did.
And they've been singing his praises ever since. Yeah. Motorcycles, sailboats, fast women.
Oh, yeah.
Good fun, Ted Ryman. Hello, Andy Rose. Well, there's your fellow Stanfordite, Andy Rose. He's coming on the show, we hope.
Yes.
On Tuesday, I think it's the 10th, whatever that is in March, and he's going to announce the first few accepted skippers, appointed skippers for this year's Governor's Cup, and fill us in on the latest. Andrew Dolly DeVola is also in Sydney, apologizing to all for the rainy weather. You need the rain. Yep, congrats to Gus Miller. Look at all the comments. Fritz Mueller, congrats to Gus Miller. Yep. In the UK, it's raining, but not raining money, Alex. Yeah, he's talking about a couple of the teams that are getting in increasing, I think, dire straits, one in particular.
Yeah.
Hello from lovely 83 Fahrenheit. Lago, what is that? That's
Lago East.
24 or 5, isn't it?
Yeah.
26 in Celsius. 83F, Lago Vista, Texas. And Ryman's saying, yeah, I'm into very fast women. And not just fast boats and fast motorcycles.
Yes.
This picture came in this morning. Speaking of the blizzard, just since our show on Tuesday, we talked a little bit about the blizzard and the fabulous photos that we had. And it's clearing up. I mean, these things don't hang around forever, but it was not only, you know where that is?
No.
Well, that's this morning. That's at New York Yacht Club's Harbor Court.
Oh, wow.
Looking to the north. And over here, my telestrator's working today, that is Goat Island. Leslie and I used to live on Goat Island when we first moved to Newport in 1979. This, next here at the end of this long causeway, is the Ida Lewis Yacht Club.
Yeah.
And, of course, this is the New York Yacht Club flagpole and the front pier and the dock and the famously comfortable and the best place to sit and enjoy a cocktail or a coffee and the view, the Adirondack chairs up there on the top of the hill.
Right.
Clubhouse just behind. And, of course, over here is the Newport, they call it the Pell Bridge, the Newport Bridge. But the snow is melting. They're digging out after Monday's record blizzard and all of the wind. It wasn't just the depth of the snow. In Newport, they had 30-some-odd inches of snow.
I read that.
And, back in the
the day that was normal?
10,000 years ago, when the Ice Age, you had lots of snow and ice and wind. So and I grew up in Michigan. I can tell you about snow and ice and wind. So can Clark Chapin. Yeah, sailing team Tally Ho. Hello, nice to have you on. The bridge is the hint. Why is it that sailing areas with bridges, like Sydney Harbor, like Auckland, like San Francisco, even the Coronado Bridge you see that sort of in the background in San Diego. I don't know, they add a lot to the scene, don't they?
They do.
David James here in the Bay Area saying Dave Perry, our longtime friend of 50 years, 45 anyway. David Perry is going to be in San Francisco on March 11, 12. He's doing a rules talk, isn't he, at St. Francis? And I get David on from time to time, just here on the show. And we'll get him on again. When he's here, it's always a little more difficult to do it live and in color. Clayton Embley reminding us there's some cool bridges in Annapolis and the Chesapeake Bay in that area as well. But that picture was forwarded by no surprise.
Yes.
Our super Fozy, Claire Harrington, Commodore Harrington of the New York Yacht Club, and she's conducting some sort of an important meeting there. She wouldn't tell me what it was, but she's got something important going on at Harbor Court.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. I've been asked to reprise this proposal I made on Tuesday, but thank you very, much. You've seen a lot of the comments too, Julia. I mean, they just rolled in from people around saying, that is sane. That is, why is this so difficult? Why can't we do it? And of course, what are the next steps? Everybody wants to know what next. Well, what next is to talk to your federation, talk to your delegates to World Sailing, and get them cracking and say, this is what we've got to do. And somebody will put a proposal in sooner or later. The Etchells class is also thinking about this.
Good.
Not everybody in the Etchells class is happy about it, by the way.
Why not?
Because, the class does just fine on its own. You put a class in the Olympics, and it takes... It's a lot of pressure on the class.
I understand that. I understand
Puts a lot of pressure on the class, on the rules, on the measurement. People start to, I don't want to use the C word, but try to cheat, try to, stretch the, go to the nth degree is probably a more fitting way of saying that. But just, I've been asked to summarize it, which I shall do. And that is, again, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm a pretty keen observer of the passing scene. And the two events that have been hugely successful for our beloved sport, especially on TV in the last 10, 20 years, 25 years even, 26 years, with the 2012 women's match racing at Weymouth in the LA sixes, and the match racing that we had in the Soling from 90, what was the first one, 96 or was it 92? I can't remember. But the last one was in 2000, the men's match racing at Sydney. There it is in front of the Opera House in Solings. And they were both fabulous events by all accounts, whether the sailors, and all the publicity and all the attention the sailors got. The TV guys love it and gals because they can televise it so easily compared to other disciplines within our sport. And moreover, the spectators can see it and understand it. As several of you said on the show on Tuesday, it's understandable, it's simple, it's clear. The Etchells class is what I propose because it has S sails, it has symmetrical spinnakers, it's a great keel boat, match racing keel boat, as well as a fleet racing keel boat. The boats are robust, they're widely spread around the world, Hong Kong, Australia, a budding fleet in New Zealand, I'm told, here in the States, in Europe, including and especially in the UK. So the proposal is to reinstate match racing, separate men's and women's division. Don't mix the men and women up and have more co-ed racing. That's just not a big deal in the Olympics, and women deserve their own division for all three sailors. Use the popular and widely distributed Etchells class keel boats for both men and women. Bring your own boat. BYOB, to reduce the costs. I mean, one of the big complaints is the costs of supplying all the hardware, all these boats for all these classes by the IOC / the local organizing committee. We don't need to do that. The sailors can, like we used to do. It worked fine.
Yes.
And we'll still have some supplied boat classes. Some of the other classes will continue, and no doubt, and be supplied fine. Short, standard, four-leg match racing courses. We didn't talk too much about that the other day. Several of you pinged me afterwards and said, what's the course? I said, well, it's this typical start, go upwind, downwind, back upwind, and then downwind to the finish line. So it's a double sausage, up, down, up, down. And you can run those races in 10 minutes if you really want. And Andy Rose and Christine Gribben and the gang at Balboa Yacht Club run the Gov Cup in boats that are more or less the same speed, the Gov Cup 22s, in somewhere between 12 and 16, 17 minutes, sometimes 20. But the race committee can vary the length of the legs, and they're short, which is what the IOC and the television people apparently continue to want, and that keeps the competition close together, the short legs, the short courses, without being too short, without being a sprint that's won at the start. There are passing lanes, especially in a boat like the Etchells. Simple format. I don't care if they're 12 teams or 24 teams or more or less, but you can have a big range, a wide range of entries under my plan, because the first aspect of this is a round robin. And if you have 12 teams, each of the teams races the other 11 once in a round robin, and then the top 8 go to, well, what they sometimes call the Elite Eight, to a quarterfinals. And if you were Andy Rose, he would say skip the quarterfinals, just do a round robin or even two, and then cut to the top four. But I think for the Olympics, you go on to quarterfinals to build the drama between this country and that country. Oh, we got, looks like what could be two of the finalists coming up in the round robin. This could be a precursor for the silver or gold medal match. So I think the round robin is a good plan, at least one. Knockout quarterfinals, semis, and finals, and they don't have to go on forever, just simply the first to win two races. It's simple to understand for sailors and non-sailors. It's nation versus nation. Although it begs the question, Julia, and several people asked after the show Tuesday, whether you would allow, in some cases, more than one team per nation. If World Sailing has a ranking list, and if there are 3 Kiwi teams or 3 Aussie teams or 3 Spanish teams in the top, tell me what, 16, 20, would you then allow more than one team from that country, as they do in figure skating, as they do in some other sports? I think not. I think you want to spread this around to as many countries, and the country sends their one best possible team. But that's a detail that's way above my pay grade. Let the gang at World Sailing figure that out.
Yeah.
This is also great for TV, full stop. And another point we didn't make Tuesday is that it returns, several of you pinged me on this, it returns keelboat racing, representing a large, I had huge. I changed that word from huge so no one would argue with me. You can't argue too much with large. I mean, what is it? Keelboat sailing is 50, 60, 70% of our beloved sport. If you look at all the racing that was on around the world and at all the clubs, all the classes, but it returns a wide swath, a large segment of our sport to the Olympics. And it returns America's Cup-style racing, match racing, which is our sport's pinnacle event. It returns match racing to the Olympics, which also, I think, makes eminent sense, Julia.
And good TV.
As well as the good TV. Yeah. But, I mean, it's just the connection to the America's Cup. Well, if your sport, if the number one event, it'd be like playing street hockey in the Olympics instead of ice hockey. Or,
it's almost the same.
Or roller hockey on rollerblades instead of ice. No, it's not. It's a completely different deal. Right. And we want to have keelboat racing back in the Olympics because it's such a big part of our sport.
What happens to the roller club?
What?
What happens to the roller clubs?
The clubs have no real whack in the Olympics. The clubs help support the sailors. The clubs help raise money, as they do now. The national authorities select and send their teams. And the clubs help provide teams and support the teams. Steve Gruber, are there any other Summer Olympic sports besides sailing that are team sports, i.e. soccer, baseball? I don't know. Not sure what that means, Steve. The Etchells is a very expensive boat for an Olympic campaign, Steve Ross says. Yes, but it isn't when you look at the big picture long term, because the boats are reusable. The boats have a long life. They have an afterlife. They're like the fin. They don't necessarily... I mean, how many Finn Olympics did Sir Ben use his same boat?
Yeah.
If curling can get that much viewership, this should be huge. Well, I mean, curling's a reasonably isolated sport. Sailing's done all over the world. Sailing is done in the Nordic countries. It's done in the tropics. It's done in Oceania, South America, South Africa. I mean, come on. We got to get this discipline back in the games. There's the brackets, again, preceded by a round robin. I don't care how many teams you decide. And after the round robin or split round robin, whatever you do, then the top 8, the Elite 8 to the quarters, then the winners to the semis, and then the winners head-to-head to the finals. First 2 win 2 points. Steve Gruber back clarifying. He said, I meant to ask if there are other sports that only allow, yes, hockey only allows 1 team per country. A lot of sports allow only 1 team per country, Steve. It's the individual performance sports, like figure skating, like skiing. And let's think about Summer Olympic. Yeah, I mean, you got the track and field guys and gals, there are more than 1 per country. if they are in the top rankings of that particular event, right? Somebody will
It
correct.
seems like that.
It's not that they'll add to that and help, please, in the chat. It's fantastic for television because we already know how to televise match racing. We've been televising match racing at least since 1987, arguably 1983. The gang, whether it's at ESPN, NBC, BBC, ITV, you tell me who. They know how to televise it. And I was thinking, too, since the show, a couple of you actually mentioned this to me, not only is keelboat match racing best for TV, but it provides simple and close racing. We've covered that. But one other thing, if you're going to put television cameras and mics on board, including on the sailors, it's a lot easier to, I mean, we know this from experience at Gulf Cup and everywhere else. It's a lot easier to do on bigger boats, on keel boats, on boats where there's a place that absolutely can keep the equipment dry. And if you put 3 or 4 pounds of equipment and a battery on there, it's not going to destroy the performance of the boat.
Might add to it.
Well, it's got to neutralize so that they don't add to the performance and don't affect the performance.
Yeah.
But you're right, Julia. Larry Kennedy, team handball, field hockey, water polo, footy, meaning soccer. I think he means they're all single teams per country. Jody Shields is just getting up in Sydney. He took the train down from Wanji.
Did he?
Yeah. And he's down there. There's a big Super Fuzzy meetup going on.
I want
there.
pictures.
Well, maybe you don't. Okay, that's the plan. I hope that you agree, and you can modify it if it's not, or send us your comments. I'd appreciate that very much. Just also, since our Tuesday show, this was big news last night. You know who that is?
No.
Bit of a sailor. His dad's a mega sailor. That is David Ellison, who yesterday won the bidding war with Netflix. Netflix pulled out, and David Ellison's Paramount Skydance will now end up with Warner Brothers. I can't spell Discovery, can I? Warner Brothers Discovery, which includes CNN.
Wow.
They already own CBS, and now they're going to own CNN. Here's a story from the California Post, which is a recent offshoot of the New York Post. Here are the real winners and losers in this epic Hollywood battle. It's been going on for months.
Yes.
Charlie Gasparino wrote this article today, obviously, the 27th. Ellison is the son. I thought you'd all enjoy this. Ellison is the son of tech billionaire Larry Ellison, who provided financial backing for the deal. Larry did. So it's tempting to write him off as lucky sperm. I'm here to tell you that he's smart and insightful. Charlie knows him apparently quite well.
Yeah.
I've met him. I know him, but I wouldn't say I know his business skills. I don't know him well. He's smart and insightful, a hell of a nice guy, and knows what he doesn't know.
That's important.
Julia?
That's very important.
He knows what he doesn't know, according to Charlie Gasparino. He started with a small indie film producer, saw the depressed values in media, and snapped up Paramount with its studio, low-ranked streamer, and once prominent CBS unit. Now Ellison sits on top of one of the biggest media companies in the world. He snared what looked like a white whale by playing the long game. Lawsuits challenging WBD's initial decision to sell Netflix to Netflix. Hostile bids and plenty of acrimony. Yes, there's lots of debt in the deal. There will be cost cutting, but as I see it, Ellison really didn't overpay at the end. Now, does this have any implications for our sport? Well, you never know.
Yeah.
When you got a media company that big and you got a father running Sail GP, and who knows who's doing what deals for the Olympic coverage and so on, to have this kind of potential whack.
No question.
Was somebody close into our sport, meaning David's dad, and David's been close to our sport. I picked him up to the airport, taken him out on the water to watch, the boat behind me when we were training in San Diego, and he's been around. Thierry de Jong, thank you. Back on the Olympic plan, great plan for the Olympics. Thank you, Thierry. Great to see David Ellison finally using his real surname. Hasn't he always, Alex? I've never known him to use anything else. And Chris, actually, I think we're all concerned about the consolidation of media control, but I think the good news is that had Netflix gotten Warner Brothers, they would have controlled a lot of content. And I know a lot of the studios, a lot of the people in Hollywood were not too happy about all of that. Banner is saying maybe David will cut Stevie Morris. You know, I said we got to keep track of some of these comments. At the end of the year, we'll have at least, maybe the top 10 comments of the year.
Right.
That's got to be one of them. That's Charlie Gasparino writing in the New York Post. Okay, Julia, what are we celebrating today? Not intermittent fasting, although some of us do that. Today is what's known as the
Big Breakfast Day. Oh, well, I'm all for that.
hearty morning feast piled high with this is a celebrated holiday. I don't know who's put it up, but it's been around for quite some time. With a variety of delectable dishes to kickstart your day with energy and joy. Are you a big breakfast person?
Yes.
You love to have breakfast.
Yes.
Your day is not correct if you don't have breakfast.
I often begin without it, but not by choice.
Oh. I have a banana, so I can take my morning meds with something in my stomach, but then I don't eat till after the show, for example.
I know.
I've been intermittent fasting for a long time, but I love breakfast. I think everybody loves breakfast, don't they?
I don't
Some
know.
version of breakfast.
Yes.
Often called the most important meal of the day, breakfast gets its name from a simple idea of breaking the natural fast. Break fast. The time of not eating that happens overnight. It can be light or hearty, sweet or savory, quick or lingering. Different cultures also have wildly different opinions about what counts as breakfast, and that variety is part of the fun. One thing many people agree on, though, breakfast is delicious. And it can set the tone for everything that I think it's my favorite meal. I just don't do it.
Why don't you do it?
Well, I don't normally. At Governor's Cup, I get a nice bacon and scrambled eggs, and because you got a lot going on all day. I'm not sitting in Studio B on my butt all day. You're getting, moving around, getting some exercise. You got to keep, but intermittent fasting is also said to be good for you. So as you know, I used to eat only within a 6-hour period.
I know. There's a lot of new stuff about that.
Well, some people say it's bad for your heart. Cardiologists have told me it's bad for your heart. J. Frederick Bland, steak and eggs, protein shake, fruit, and a bagel. Well, he's a big weightlifter.
Oh, that sounds good.
Rick Manro says this segment is sponsored by Cracker Barrel or Denny's. Glade Embley, I'm intermittently fast when driving on the highway. Okay, Julia. Which is your favorite breakfast? An English breakfast or a fry-up, as some Brits call it? A hearty traditional cooked meal featuring bacon, sausages, eggs, baked beans, and tomatoes, often served with mushrooms, black pudding, and toast or fried. What's fried bread? Julia, what's fried bread?
Probably French toast.
No, it's not. It's something. It's how you prepare toast. Is it? Maybe it is fried. Maybe it is French toast.
It depends on who says it.
I suppose. Sometimes called the full Monty. I've heard other things called the full Monty with regional variations like hash browns or potato skins. There is what the typical French breakfast is.
That's got to be le petit déjeuner.
You're the French speaker. Thank you for doing that. A light, sweet, and simple meal with a cappuccino or a cafe au lait on quality based on focusing on quality carbohydrate and savory, heavy, or protein-rich foods that generally consist. Okay, you all know this.
Yep.
Baguette, pastries, croissants. I have had, speaking of Denmark, and I think the best breakfasts I ever had were in Denmark on the jury boat on the way out to the race course.
Yes.
We had marvelous, pastries and coffee and other delights on the jury boat every morning. It was cold too, so you needed a good warm breakfast to keep you fired up.
Yeah, that's good.
I ask you, is it correct or croutonic? Because a lot of people have been saying for over 100 years that breakfast is, in fact, the most important meal. Correct or croutonic? breakfast is the most important meal of the day. What saith you, Julia?
Depends on what else you're going to eat during the day.
But routinely, if you were to skip breakfast, would that be bad?
I've done it so often that I don't know. I think you really should have a good breakfast.
Gruber says, I particularly like cold pizza and warm beer. Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin says, the most important meal a day, he's saying croutonic. It's not true. And he, of course, is a cardiovascular surgeon.
Yes.
And I've had cardiologists lately tell me the same thing, that it's not the most important meal, but it's also that intermittent fasting, skipping breakfast, is also not a great idea, Julie. Chris Exley says, correct. Absolutely. Clay Embley, J. Frederick Bland, Ted Ryman, they're all saying correct.
Yep.
The most important meal of the day. Julia, you would be disappointed.
Yes.
What?
If you didn't have a video.
We've all heard it. Our parents, teachers, doctors all urged the importance of breakfast.
Breakfast is said to be the most important meal of the day.
This is the most important meal of the day.
It really is the most important meal of the day.
And while it is important, is it really the most important? Short answer, no. But you're going to want to hear the long answer. The classic American breakfast scene. Mom cooking up eggs, dad rushing down the stairs, tightening his tie. It's that Pleasantville suburbia cliche centered around pancakes, eggs, and OJ. But breakfast didn't always mean that. For most of human history, people just ate whatever was around. In the late 1800s, one man had something to say about that. Enter Dr. John Harvey Kellogg. Yes, that Kellogg. Kellogg, a deeply Christian man, believed a proper breakfast could prevent masturbation. And what was a proper breakfast? Well, his newly patented cornflakes. And so began his moral crusade. Throughout the 20th century, other cereal companies joined in to spread Kellogg's message. Less for the masturbation part, more for the marketing.
We always start our day with a high-protein breakfast, like grape nuts with milk and sugar.
In the 1940s, Grape Nuts officially coined the phrase, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and it stuck.
It's the most important meal of the day.
Yahoo! I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs! Check this out. Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids.
While studies do point to the benefits of breakfast, like lowering the risk of heart disease, there's actually no clear evidence it's any more important than any other meal. Unless you're a cereal company.
This guy Kellogg, which several of the gang said in the chat, Alan Long notably said, Kellogg's made that up to sell cereal.
Right.
Dr. Kellogg did. And apparently to stop masturbation.
That's
how would that stop any teenage boy from masturbating, eating cereal? Fabian Harrelson, coffee and eggs. Andrew McIrvin, the best meal in the USA. Now, see, there's a point. The best meal in the USA is breakfast.
Yeah.
Probably. And J. Frederick Blanley. I think this is a joke. I love grape nuts.
Well, grape nuts are good.
Oh, there's so much sugar in most cereals, including grape nuts. Okay, now we beat this one. No pun intended. We beat this. Okay, you can give me a wag, Julia. I didn't mean that. You know, with our sound effects, did you see in Magnus the Magnificent's latest, he refers to Eamon, who uses... As Eamon would, not Tom Eamon, not Sailing Illustrated's Tom Eamon, Eamon, like I'm Madonna or Cher or just some crouton from Michigan. He said, yeah, he uses the expression crickets.
Yeah.
And Magnus, if you're listening, I was proud of that. Thank you. For your... Okay, Julie, let's get to John Emmett and his, see if I can stop the crickets there. We've heard enough of that. John Emmett, and I apologize because I left the video out on Tuesday, so we're going to run his Tuesday's video and today's video in this same segment. Here's the first one from Melbourne, out on a beer can, a club race in the evening.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all Fozy. I'm here at Maverick, Sunfast 3600. We've got just coming up to 5 minutes to go, so going to keep it brief. Don't want to get in the way, but this is really the club racing at its very best. So here in Sandy, and we're just lining up for the Wednesday evening race. So I'll try not to get hit by the boom, which would of course increase the number of views. But this idea of handicap racing, personal handicap racing, is absolutely fantastic. So if you have a good day, you pay for it the next time as your handicap gets lowered. It means everybody can start. What I think is really cool is the Australians, they obviously seem to be able to take time off a little bit easier, because we've got a 2 o'clock start, and I'm here with quite a few of the fossil cycling, but I'm going to go and get back to my place right at the back of the boat, because we're just coming into the start sequence. But not only is it nice to sail with your mates, but the social aspect is really important. And you can see if I turn around, we're one of the last boats to start, so we're going to try and catch that lot. So no spinnakers makes it surprisingly civilised. Wave to camera, look sort of vaguely happy.
Cheers, guys. Nice day out.
So the most important part is the social, and actually this series goes something like 50 weeks a year, and 24 races in a winter series, 24 races in a summer series, and yeah, great to have so much sailing.
Now, did we really get tossed off Facebook for talking about that, or did it come back?
What?
I see that in the comments that we got terminated on Facebook.
I didn't see anything.
Well, I didn't either, but that's what Peter Taylor said. That's what David James has said. Internet problems, the feed went totally dead. You'll have to go watch it on YouTube, everybody. You have to go watch it on YouTube. I wonder, or unless Facebook just went down, but I doubt that. I think they must have. Go watch it.
Oh, my.
On YouTube. Starting that back up will not be easy. Go watch it on YouTube. I think you used a naughty word. That gets you knocked off Facebook? Man, oh man. Well, I hope you all can switch over to YouTube. People will switch over to YouTube. Man, oh man, Julia.
Did you really?
Apparently. I mean, look at... Yep, Facebook is stuck on heart disease. I think you used a naughty word. Well, I'm sorry, everybody. Trying to reboot the stream is hard. Yeah, YouTube is just fine. Facebook's still working, just not SI. Yeah, I think they didn't like the word that we used.
Oh, Facebook's still on.
Kicked off by the new sponsor, Weight Watchers. Facebook doesn't like bacon. Yeah, I don't know about that. You are out. I wonder if I'll get a copyright strike. That's something else. What happened? Feed is out. Was I canceled? Yeah. Now James is back in the chat. Is it back on, James? J. Frederick Bland's just chatted in Facebook. Try I don't know. Both my personal page and the Sailing Illustrated page. Did they both go down? Oh, man. Well, you live and you learn, Julia, but that is something else.
Oh, it's a masturbation.
Don't say it.
Oops.
Jeez, Julia.
Reading.
You're reading Rick Banner, but if that's the problem, all that talk, if that's the problem, well, don't keep saying it.
Sorry.
Did the Ellison kid buy Facebook? The chat is just working fine. Would somebody, David James and Steve, would you all put something on that people are going to have to go to YouTube to watch the rest of the show? Sailing Illustrated YouTube, and then you click on the live button. Oh, man, the word that dare not speak its name. Man, oh, man, Julia, we're going to go down in history for being the old farts, the dirty old farts.
Reading the news.
Okay. I'm going to carry on here, and I hope people will find us on YouTube. I apologize. I had no idea you could get knocked off Facebook. You know, you all want us to stay on Facebook because of the chat facility.
Yeah.
And I know you all like it, and there's a lot of chit and chat back and forth, and Stingray's counseled me on this, Dogzilla Monster. But maybe we just give up on Facebook and just do it on YouTube. I don't know. Bacon heard you. Greg Newman, I saw his comment saying you got to have breakfast because you got to have bacon. What's a day without a little bacon at the start of the day?
Mm-hmm.
Gang, if I stop the stream and turn it back on, try to restream it, I'm not sure that Facebook will still be allowing us to stream. I think it's more likely they'll put us back up in a second if in fact that was the reason. I've been knocked off for power outages, for internet outages, but never for a word that we've used. Man, oh, hello, Chris Fury. He's commenting. Chris, are you seeing any video on Facebook? Are you just able to chat? Because we apparently got knocked off because of the segment we just ran. We mentioned the M word. Okay, I'm carrying on here. For those of you who are on by YouTube, and I hope others will find us and then go back and watch it if you can't watch it and replay.
Mr. Kellogg
on YouTube.
Mr. Kellogg may have.
Mr. Kellogg's family, he's long gone, that guy. Okay, at the end of John's first video, we always like to say 2032, push for Paralympic sailing to get back in the games. If we hope as a regular sport, full-on sport in the 2032 Brisbane Games, but if not, at least as a demonstration event. And here's John's second report, this time from a rainy Sydney.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the Fosey. So, 2 John Emmett's coaching corners today. So, I'm sat here looking at the weather, and it really, really makes it very clear. Sailing is a weather-dependent sport. In fact, you can probably see in the background, I've got my bike. People who know me well will know I'm pretty risk-averse. So in this rain that we have here in Sydney, and have had pretty much since I arrived, there's no way I'm going sailing. Fraudulent slip, going cycling, because the risk-reward profile isn't worth it. Now, of course, for me, cycling is a good way to try and get the body fat down before the start of the European season and to get the aerobic fitness up. But if I go for a cycle and I fall off the bike and have an injury, that could be a huge step back. So actually in Sydney, I joined some of the cycle groups, and you have a message about 5:20 a.m. saying cancelled. And as someone who looks at the weather, that's something that's really of no surprise. But we're a weather dependent sport. So low winds, I guess it can make it hard to make the sport seem exciting. For me, probably the biggest thing is being fair. And then for extreme boats, as soon as we get to the upper wind range, without being melodramatic, it can be dangerous because damage to boats or people is going to be much more significant at high speed. In terms of the visuals, say I'm looking out the window, it's pouring with rain. It is harder to do stuff. I spend a lot of time trying to edit videos, put out, communication, top tips, coaching to help people who I won't have the opportunity to help in person. For example, I'm coaching today, but that will be 10 people, whereas the average video will get, hopefully a lot more than 10 views. So it's really important just to think about this weather and the effect it has, because I said even the torrential rain and low light makes it hard to shoot videos, but we're a weather dependent sport. So I think that's why when choosing a champion at a traditional regatta, it's important to have a long regatta in case you lose days, but actually, more races and slightly longer races to have a worthy champion. In other words, for the Ilkas, I favour 45, 50 minutes. And I think any shortening, they would say adds jeopardy. I would probably say it just adds a little bit more randomness. So the wind we have here, the cloud-driven wind, it can be incredibly changeable. So yeah, we're getting ready for the Sail GP. So let's hope for some good weather. Fingers crossed. See you on the show. If you have the chance, sail fast, sail safe, Have fun.
I kept interrupting John. I'm sorry. Sorry, John, but that's his second report. He is obviously in Sydney, and there's going to be a Super Fozzy gathering here, Julia. And that's John Emmett's regular reportage. John Emmett sailing, get to the front of the fleet. And he's going to be on Shark Island. Jody's there. A lot of the gang are going to be there. Now I have some news for you all.
Yes?
I have news, Julia.
I'm ready.
I've got a message from Facebook. It was not the M word.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go get this. It was not the M word. It was a copyright strike. And let me go play this for you. Because of that video he played. However, the copyright holder has removed the strike.
Oh, good.
Copyright, there it is. Copyright claim withdrawn. All changes were removed. Apparently they made changes to it, or they're trying to make changes. So they knocked us off the air because of the copyright claim, but it's now been withdrawn. I don't know. There are changes to your video, one or more. You know, and sometimes they just mute. If you're using music they think is copyrighted, they just mute it. But here it is, copyright claim withdrawn. Oh, man. So apparently in replay, maybe not. Facebook video and audio are on a never-ending video about breakfast heart disease. Well, I'm sorry. Go watch it on YouTube. Please, anybody who's watching on Facebook, please switch.
Well, it may be coming back on.
Well, maybe.
If the strike's been removed.
Well, who knows? I don't know how it works. And without us putting up another feed.
Restream says switch over to YouTube.
I typed that. That was a comment I typed. Okay, let's get to Sail GP and what's going on in Sydney.
Welcome to the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix.
Okay, it's different music, Julia. The racing is Saturday and Sunday local, and of course it's Saturday down there now in Sydney, and the racing is twilight racing, they're calling it. 17:30 is the start, and they will go for an hour and a half, their normal hour and a half TV window, so they'll go till 1900 local, which is 06:30 in Europe on Saturday morning. Both days, Saturday and Sunday, and it's 22:30 here tonight. So we'll be watching on the West Coast at 22:30, and for Claire and Larry Kennedy and Peter Taylor and Bannerow and the rest of you on the East Coast, sorry if that's 01:30 your time, early Saturday morning. Okay, so what's the latest? There's so much stuff coming out of the teams. I've just tried to pare this down to the main points of what's happened this week. The major point probably, and there was a video and there was a press release, and that is, and Magnus wrote about this. Richard Gladwell's been grizzling about it, and to me privately, I'm not sure what he's written. But the point is that Sail GP did what many think is a CYA. There were no problems with the boats. There were no technical, no electronic, no mechanical issues with the Kiwi boat that caused it to spin up. Yeah, there's some limitation on how the foils work, and maybe they got up against that hard stop. I don't know. I saw that Tom Morris had a video out this morning. He's now hooked up with that YouTube channel called The Foil. And he is saying that, and I think he may be right, by the way, he's saying that the protest decision, facts found, don't add up with what the investigation that Sail GP did and have now been pushing in the last couple of days, last 3 days. So I don't know what to think. No one's probably ever going to really know what the cause of that was, but there's a lot of grizzle, there's a lot of angst, and there's a lot of concern that if it gets breezy again, and it's going to be 13, 14 knots apparently today and tomorrow, but if it does get breezy, and by the way, they're putting the boats all in one fleet again.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, all 11 boats in one fleet. Are these increasingly old boats?
Yeah.
Are they up to the all of the loads that are being applied to the platforms that were not originally designed for T-foils?
Right.
I think is this.
Are those T-foils?
Well, these T-foils, and that's the summary. So, what are they hyping down there? Well, aside from what I've just told you, the Sail GP Twilight Racing was the headline this morning, set to light up Sydney Harbor this weekend. The Rolex Sail GP Championship returns to its birthplace this weekend, Feb 28, March 1, for the KPMG Sydney Sail Grand Prix, set to deliver action-packed racing with an historic twist. For the first time, Rolex Sail GP Championship will set sail at twilight, transforming the action in what time is sundown? Somebody tell us in the chat, would you please?
Probably 8:30.
Well, somebody down there in the chat that knows, but it can't be 8:30, Julie, because if they're calling this twilight racing 5:30 to 7, it's got to be earlier than that. They're getting a little late in their summer. We'll set sail at twilight, transforming the action into a golden hour spectacle on one of the world's most iconic harbors. As the sun dips and the city skyline begins to glow, 11 out of 13 national teams will fly identical F-50 foiling catamarans capable, this is for the general public, capable of speeds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour into a stadium-style racecourse wrapped tightly around Shark Island. Expect speed, spray, and split-second decisions as the sport's top athletes battle rivals, shifting breeze, and a fading light. Bannerl says it's 7:35. Yeah, that's more like it. 7:35 is sundown. Is that civil? Is that what? Doesn't matter. Approximately 7:30 is sundown. Okay, so that's what they're hyping, is this twilight racing. It is late in the day. I don't know if that's for television purposes, but it's always been scheduled that late in the day. And by the way, Julia, this is the 7th. Are you with me?
Yes,
You're doing research over there.
I am.
Well, we've already got it. 7:30. Bannerl looked it up and put it in the chat. So we've got a 7:30 sundown, apparently. And this is going to be an interesting and different day. And it's the 7th year that they've been sailing Sail GP. Remember, the inaugural event was in Sydney in February in 2009. 7 years ago, we've been covering Sail GP.
Wow.
And doing it. It seems like yesterday.
I know.
7 years. Dogzilla, a.k.a. Stingray. Thank goodness we have Sail GP. AC38 is still nothing but crickets chirping. There you go, Magnus. Crickets. Less ferry traffic, maybe, Rick Banner was suggesting. There's a good thought. Siri agrees, sunset Sydney. So Steve Gruber checked at 7:30, Julia, is the time that the gang have come up with. Mother Nature sets the stage for an unusual Sydney showdown. Was a press release later this morning. At this time of year, racing on Sydney Harbor usually follows a familiar script. It's either the classic northeasterly sea breeze, powered by a summer heat and delivering reliable thermal pressure, or a dramatic southerly change when a cold front barrels in from below and unleashes a southerly buster across the harbor. This weekend is different. The southerly has already come and gone. In its wake, strong high pressure is building into the Tasman, setting up a moderate easterly flow across the harbor. That might sound subtle, but for the Sail GP teams, it changes everything. It's going to be light and shifterly or lighter. Less kumquat traffic later in the day. If you know, you know. Steve Gruber. Okay. They expect Saturday's breeze to sit in the 22 to 31 kilometer per hour. Gee, give me a break, Sail GP. Not extreme, but far from straightforward. An easterly breeze places the terrain south of the harbor upwind of the racecourse, increasing the likelihood of turbulence and shifty, unsettled conditions. In other words, this could be a strategist's headache and I don't know, it'd be a fan's dream.
All kinds of misdirections.
Well, it's going to be shifty.
Yeah.
It's going to be lighter and shitterly, as we used to say, shifterly. But, you know, it's lake sailing. You're sailing on Sydney Harbor in an easterly, and that's what you're going to have. So buckle up here, buckaroos. By the way, 25 kilometers per hour, which is kind of the average of what they're saying is the wind range, is 13 and a half knots.
Which is not.
You know, it's nice breeze. It's
Yeah.
perfect. And I had to Google that, Julia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I knew it's when we were, every now and then we beat a regatta somewhere where they were using kilometers per hour, not knots.
Yes.
And you just halved it.
Yeah. It's 60%.
More or less. Is it 60?
Yeah.
Okay.
Half plus 10%.
And Steve Ross is saying the big regatta starts next weekend with the JJ Giltonen for the 18-footers. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We covered that extensively last year, and we will again with Dolly DeVola and the rest of the gang leading the way, Peter Shipway as well. Okay, now there was a press conference yesterday, Thursday, and it was in two parts. The first part was Russell and Quentin Delapierre, and they were discussing primarily and I got criticized by a couple of you for using the word carnage in our cover slide today, but that's the word that Sail GP is using over and over and over again, like that's what they want to promote, Julia, carnage.
Yeah.
And, you know, it makes a lot of us uncomfortable, I know, but
They're not paying the bills.
Well, and I'll come back to that in a minute, but there is, remind me to bring that back up, who is paying the bills for these repaired boats. So this is a Fox News I think she's from Fox TV. I can't remember. Wasn't the best, but wasn't bad either. They always try to use a local person. I wish they would just take the same person from event to event to event.
That has as many pitfalls as
Well,
the other does.
the problem with that is that they may not speak the local language. They may not speak Aussie.
Yeah. Well, I think that's right.
And maybe they want the general public to feel like there's a local yokel involved. But
Yeah.
I just think for the sake of this is a worldwide sport, worldwide event, worldwide coverage. So they talked about the whole damage situation. There's a bit of certainty around the French team, Russell said, the CEO, of course, told the media conference ahead of the start of Sail GP Sydney on Friday. So this was their press guy said yesterday. It was Thursday our time. It was Friday their time. The team, quote, the team at Southern Spars in Auckland have done a remarkable job of getting the French boat back in order. And, of course, we told you the other day they've taken, who call it Stingray? Several of you are calling it the Frankenstein boat.
Yeah.
Because they've taken parts from the French boat and melded them with the good parts from the Kiwi boat. And they're in the process now, apparently, Russell says they're about to repaint that boat and they will get it to Rio in time. It's just about at the stage now where it is being painted and it will be back on the start line in Rio for the next event. So good news. That's for the French. This is Richard Gladwell's reporting, by the way. No mention was made of the situation facing the Black Foils, which was also badly damaged, as you all know, and held by the international jury to have been at fault in the incident in which 2 crew members were injured.
Yeah, I read that.
Now, the other thing, Julia, that came out of this news conference, Quentin Delapierre told us his strategist, the lady whose name escapes me, who went through the steering wheel, she was down on the leeward side looking,
right.
remember that? We talked on Tuesday about that. She was in the hospital for fully 2 weeks. Is she still in or she's just gotten out 2 weeks later?
Oof.
So she, there was a lot of, her sternum apparently got cracked. I don't know what happened. No one's talking. They're all being very circumspect.
Yeah.
But internal organ damage or internal bleeding or just monitoring the situation. You don't stay in the hospital for 2 weeks if it's a bruise, right?
Right.
What's her name? Manon? What's her name? Rick Bannerell. Thank you for that. I agree with Rick that the Kiwi host was really good. I think a lot of us said that after we saw it. So that was part one of the press conference yesterday, and Russell made no mention of the black foils and what is their future, because here is what one hears. Steve Ross says he's heard a ruptured spleen. Ooh, ugh.
Yes. Awful.
I hope not, but you don't keep somebody in the hospital for 2 weeks with a bruise. Yeah, badly damaged. You mean totally wiped out. Yeah. Here's, Julia, what one hears. The Kiwis, after their, and remember, they were found at fault for the Perth event.
Yeah.
Where there was the port starboard incident. They were found at fault, and apparently they got a bill from the league for give or take $1 million to repair the boat.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But that's what I hear repeatedly from people who do know, people who are talking to people inside that team and people who are talking to people in the league. Now they've had another problem, this damage, this huge crash and damage that basically wrecked the boat. I mean, the boat's not recoverable. They're using some parts of it to repair the French boat, obviously. They're going to get a bill for that, too, because they were deemed to have been at fault by the jury.
Mm-hmm.
And after the technical review, which said it's not our fault, not Sail GP's fault. And that's a league-owned team. That's one of 2 league-owned teams.
Yeah.
So what's the implication to the Kiwis of that? And if they don't pay up their bill, if they don't reimburse the league for these invoices they're getting to repair the boat, are they even going to have a team left? Or is the league going to take the team from them and sell it to somebody else to try to recoup the money? I don't know about these driver's licenses. I don't know about deduction of points. I've heard and read about that, Ed Worley, but I really don't know what that's all about. Steve Groover agrees Sail GP has been suspiciously tight-lipped about the injuries. Well, I'm sure they have to be careful. If she's been in the hospital with a ruptured spleen, Julia, that's serious.
It is.
Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it can be life-threatening. That's not a good look. So that was part one of the press conference. Then part two, they got the skippers out there. They got Tom, Hannah, Martina, Giles, and Nathan. And, of course, the 2 local heroes, Nathan and Tom, got the most of the attention. But during this part of the media conference, the Flying Roo skipper Tom Slingsby was asked whether wing sail trimmer Ian Jensen, Goobs, would be back this weekend. Jensen, you'll recall, suffered multiple tears to his knee during practice race in Perth in mid-January. Super sub, many call him, including Tom, calls him the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Glenn Ashby stepped in at short notice and stayed aboard for the Auckland event. Now, yesterday they were supposed to have practice racing, but there was thunder squalls, so they didn't have practice race. And the plan for Friday's practice, Tom said, was to conduct a graduated test of Jensen's sailing ability. Here is that accident that tore up Ian's knee, Goobs' knee, in Perth.
Going forward. Your wing. Hold.
Got it caught under
Holding. Sitting a bit slowly.
the center beam. You want to look at that again? It's just awful. It's painful to watch it.
Your wing. Hold. Holding. Sitting a bit slowly.
Okay, so, and this is what Tom Slingsby had to say about all that at the press conference yesterday.
Goobs is going to try to sail today. He's been medically cleared to sail. As anyone who's had a knee injury knows, it's always fine till it's not. It's one of those injuries where it's really tough because you lose confidence in your legs. And when you're crossing these boats, across the trampolines, That's really need to have confident footing underneath you. But Goobs has been passing every test he's been given, which is unbelievable when you consider the injury, and he might be sailing. So we're going to go out there and do a couple of laps with him before the practice racing, and we're going to stop and assess how's it feel, do you have confidence in your knee, and then we'll make a call if he does practice racing, and we're just going to take it step by step. We've got Glenn Ashby on hand. He'll be on the chase boat in his gear, ready to jump on if needed. And I mean, I guess we're just so fortunate that we have that ability. And I mean, it's a testimony to Australian sailors. We see so many Australian sailors throughout the fleet, and just to know that we've got someone like Glenn Ashby, who retired a couple of years, but is known as a GOAT in a lot of circles as in wing trimming world. He's a legend of the sport, and I literally had to call him off his farm to come join us in Perth, and he's just, since then, he's just said, look, I'm here to support Goobs. If you need me, I'll be there. But he's also just trying to help Goobs get back on the boat as quick as possible. So we couldn't have asked for anyone better.
Called him off the farm. The gentleman farmer, yes. Glenn Ashby. Well, reminds me of Peter Gilmore, who's also a gentleman farmer, raising Wagyu beef.
Oh, that's right.
Last I knew.
Yeah.
Tom is just very good at that. He's humble. He's shy. He comes off like Jack Hughes, the kid who was the hockey player for the U.S. after he scored the golden goal. And
yeah,
this is why Claire likes him. I like him. A lot of us do, because he's just a genuine human being too. Mm-hmm. Now, what else is Sail GP promoting, Julia? Carnage. And if Claire's watching, Claire, I'm sorry to have used the word carnage, but I think Sail GP's happy for us to talk about carnage, because their big video, which they put out today, previewing the event, talks about, for the first 7, I'm going to play it, most of it, but the commentators talk about carnage for the first 5 minutes of that video.
Last time out on Sail GP, there was drama in Auckland, and we're going to get into it.
And as they approach mark number 1 here in race number 3, Phil Robertson coming awfully close, and the Blackfoils collide with DS Team France.
Oh, they lost the boat there, the Blackfoils. They just got a little loose. Rudders came out of the water. That was a massive incident. We're going to have to check and hope everyone's okay on that one.
And I'm now joined by my colleagues, former Emirates GBR athlete Hannah Diamond and Olympian Stevie Morrison. All right, Hannah, we'll start with you. That incident was amazing. Luckily, everyone turned out to be okay, some serious injuries, but nothing that's going to carry forward too long. What was your takeaway?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously horrible to watch in real time, and everyone's had a chance to look back at it a number of times now to try and understand better what happened. And yeah, like you say, really thankfully, no really serious injuries, but I think it will have an impact on the fleet, how people sail the boats. They'll be maybe a little bit more cautious, but definitely a lot of learning going forwards.
Stevie, what was your takeaway, as you and I were very excited on that incident? I think you saw it first, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that leg to mark 1's fast, isn't it? It's really, really fast, and these are racers. They want to push things hard, and the reality is, if you're racing and you're pushing things around the limit and around the edge, occasionally you can go over it, and I think, unfortunately, that happened. Thankfully, as you say, the most important thing was that there was injuries, but everyone seems to be recovering and on the right road back. But yeah, it just shows, you give athletes a machine and they're going to push it pretty hard.
All right, let's take a look at this one more time. Hannah, I'll let you have the first crack at this. When did you see trouble initially?
Well, so actually, I was watching the Blackfoils, and I thought they were going to potentially run into the back of Red Bull Italy. So that was where my eyes were to begin with. But you can definitely see them riding pretty high on the foil, and then, Quentin Delapierre on DS Team France just took as much avoiding action as possible, but so little time to react to this.
And Stevie, I think you and I were looking at the same thing, that left side with Phil Robertson. That's where my attention was turned to, but you picked it up quickly as they went sideways.
Yeah, you just saw them start to get quite high, and as they do get high on the foils, the boat will slip sideways. And at that point, they're kind of passengers on board until the moment it comes back and grips. And of course, yeah, it just unfortunately happened really, really quick. I don't think there was anything more Quentin could have done. Yeah. I think he did a fantastic job, and I think, he had maybe, 0.1 of a second his reaction time was, or less even, to start turning, and thankfully he did manage to turn a little bit on it. But yeah, it was as soon as they got that little bit too high. But again, on that leg, the Blackfoils have consistently been putting the foil further out, more righty moment, more pure horsepower, and they've been putting the boat high up. So you're reducing the drag on the foils, but you're giving yourself less margin.
and the conditions that day were very variable. You know, so a lot's been made of the course and stuff, but perhaps you have to adjust how hard you push. You don't drive your car the same in the rain as you do in the dry. You know, you adapt to the situation.
Yeah, well, this gives us an opportunity as we continue with the repairs and unpacking of how this all happened. We can talk to the Director of Engineering and Performance, Alex Reed from Sail GP.
Data shows that, you know, both boats were screaming down the reach. New Zealand was going very quickly. They basically, what happened was they encountered a gust, quite a strong gust, accelerated the boat.
Yeah, sharp up on it, 3, Lynn. 2, 1, now.
As the gust hit, the boat started to rise. Flight controller took off quite a lot of rake. The boat kept on rising, enough for the foil to pierce. And at that point, with a lot of cant, windward heel, the boat basically started to slide sideways. And once it started sliding, it started generating lift from the leeward slide. And no matter what the flight controller did, it just kept sliding. The flight controller did hit the electronic rate limiter, but yeah, we don't know whether that would have helped or not if he could have gone further.
So when we're flying the boat, we're trying to give enough lifting force into the dagger board to overcome the weight and the downward forces in the boat. And obviously we want to have as few things in the water as possible. So with that in mind, we're putting a rake number into the dagger board. But obviously when we get too high on the ride height, we obviously want to bring the boat down. So we want to put in sort of a negative lifting force into that, which is something that's really, really complicated to do, especially when you're doing it at close to 100 kilometers an hour.
And what we're doing for this event is we're basically introducing some new software, detects when the boat is sliding, and when that happens, it will allow more negative rake to the maximum extent that the case can provide. Until we have another severe slide, we won't know if that's effective or not. The other area that we're changing, agreement with the flight controllers, is that we're changing the sensitivity range on their inputs. So they should have basically more effect at higher speed.
Once you start going 12 knots sideways, no matter how it grips, it's going to be a pretty bad crash. Whether it gripped earlier or whether it gripped later and maybe hit the Italian boat, I think that it was going to happen no matter what.
You had a comment during that video and several others, Julia.
Yeah, I couldn't say no really serious injuries. Both legs broken and a compound fracture.
Exactly. I mean, what are they thinking? I guess they've got to downplay it. They're worried about legal issues. They're worried about, this regatta.
Yeah.
But as several of you said, and as we've commented since this incident, it feels a little bit like Formula One was back in the 50s, 60s before Dr. Sid Watkins got involved and started pushing everybody to make the cars safer, to make the drivers' equipment safer, and so on, and so the track safer, and so on and so forth. But Russell's a smart boy, no doubt. And by the way, I made the comment too when I was watching the press conference. Several of you were watching. I made the comment, Russell seems a little less self-assured and a little more stuttery than he usually is. I've known Russell very well for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I think he was trying to strike the right, appropriate balance between being concerned and not being overly, this carnage is, not to appear that, carnage is great. That's what we're looking for. That's what we want. Because I don't think Russell at the bottom of his little heart really wants that. Although,
and who wants to pay for it? I
mean, that's the other thing. And however, Magnus went pretty hard on them in his blog post the other day about this is just really bad. And there've been a lot of people, a lot of people on social media and beyond.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We shall see. To happier things, and hopefully, God forbid, if there's another accident, because we've had quite a string of them now. And again, the boats are old. I think the platforms are not built for these T-foils and the high forces that they are exerting on the platforms and the wings. We'll see. Now, it was, in fact, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, in 2019, Hard to believe. It's been 7 years since the first ever Sail GP event. And there is our super Fozy, Jody Shields, on the left, doing commentary for the VIPs on Shark Island. First ever Sail GP event. And we've got a bunch of super Fozy and other Fozy there. I know, Julia. Alistair Murray was saying in the Super Fozy chat, good eye, Tom and all. I won't be on although he has been on the show, but we'll be listening as I'm doing the 4-hour drive from Meetung to the Melbourne airport to go to Sydney for Sail GP. Just in case we can catch up, what are your mobiles, please, Dolly and Jody? And then I blocked out his, which he sent. So you got Jody and Dolly and Alistair, and of course John is there as well. And then Peter Stevenson weighs in. Good day. Well, no, that's Alistair. Peter Stevenson replies to Alistair and says, we have some Melbourne weather waiting for you, Alistair. Wet, dull, humid, dreary. But don't worry, once sailing is over, everyone will be bright, happy, gay, and cheery, I guess he means, as you and I walk in the parade.
Sherry.
Will be Sherry. Well, okay. What? And there is the gay flag, a heart, some red wine. Did you bring some bling? And I'm wondering, what the hell are they talking about? They're having some kind of a super Fozy meetup. We know they're all going to get together and have a beer probably at one of the yacht clubs and carry on. So I Googled it to see what's going on. Well, today, Saturday, is the 48th annual Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras Parade on Saturday the 28th. And Sydney is one of Oceania's largest such events. The parade features over 200 floats and 12,000 marchers along Oxford and Flinders streets. The celebration, running from 18 to 23, marks a vibrant tradition of pride and protest. Look at this group in that image, Julia. They all look to be our age.
I know.
They've been around, I think, since the first one.
Yeah.
What a group. Okay, well, have fun if you're going to that, guys and gals.
1975.
Have fun. Is that when the first one was?
It said.
48th.
In 1975.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
You do the math in your head.
Yeah, 75 is 25 plus
26.
Plus 26.
That's 41. Julia. In any event, that's our report on Sail GP. And we'll see how it goes. And again, if you're in the States, that racing is tonight. Here, I think it's 10:30 our time and 01:30 on the East Coast. If you're going to try to watch it here in the States, early in the morning in Europe, obviously, UTC.
Or when you wake up in the morning.
And watch it in replay. I'll probably watch it tonight.
Yeah.
Get back from dinner and probably come in here into Studio B as if I need to spend any more time here in Studio B and watch the racing. Bravo Zulu to the Finn class. They've had a tremendous 3 weeks. The Aussie Nationals, then their Worlds, and then the World Masters, which wrapped today at the Royal Queensland Yacht Squadron, presented by the Porsche Center Brisbane. All of these regattas, they had one major sponsor and a bunch of minor sponsors. The event attracted 107 Finns from 16 countries.
Wow.
That's the Masters.
Yeah.
And followed on from the Australian Nationals and the Finn Gold Cup, which is their world championship, for fully 3 weeks of Finn sailing on Moreton Bay. Is that how you say that? Moreton, I think. So, yeah, bravo Zulu to the RQYS, to the class down there and everybody else involved. And then this guy, who's also an Aussie, Brendan Casey, as a couple of you mentioned in the chat, is the first Aussie to win the World Masters, Masters Worlds. He's from Australia, has become the first Australian ever to win the Finn World Masters. 2 more races were sailed today, Friday, at the Porsche Center, Brisbane. 2026 Finn World Masters at the RQYS in Brisbane. In a very tight finish, Spain's Rafa Trujillo nearly caught Casey with New Zealand's Carl Purdy in third.
Mm-hmm.
Casey said, quote, "It's been an amazing month of sailing, but this week we had the Masters, and I've had a great battle for this title with Rafa, who sailed exceptionally well in conditions that probably aren't his." Yeah, he was the guy, that came good in the Gold Cup when it got lighter. And then today we had a real ding-dong battle, match race to decide the title. See that? Match racing in fins, Julia.
Mm-hmm.
Ought to be in the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
When I crossed the line, I actually thought Rafa was the victor, and I was actually happy that he would have won because he's put in the effort. We've put in the effort, and we've really risen the bar here at the Royal Queensland for everyone. Everyone's improved, everyone's gotten healthier, and everyone's friendships, I'll repeat this, everyone's friendships have been magic to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
How nicely put.
Really nice.
By
Yeah.
Mr. Casey.
Yeah.
Here's Rafa. He won the silver. Rafa Trujillo from España. And he said, quote, "I'm not sure what else I could do to be world champion, but I'm pretty proud of this second. And congratulations to Brendan because he was untouchable from the middle day of the Finn Gold Cup. He was the best sailor in this water and an amazing performance." Now, this is how close the racing was. That's the two of them with Brendan trailing Rafa on Friday today in the one of the final two races. Tight at the top. Great stuff. Absolutely terrific stuff. As is this guy. You know who that is, Julia? My former college coach. He coached the Michigan sailing team back in the 70s and was also a professor, a teacher, or something in the engineering. I think he was in the engineering department. That is the 91-year-old, the legend, Gus Miller, August Miller, who's been coaching, training, helping people get into the Finn class and other at countries all over the place for decades.
Mm-hmm.
He raced at age 91. That's what? You're only 81, right? And I'm 71. You're 86. Can you imagine doing that in 5 years from now?
Sure.
Racing in the Finn? You can. That's how you are. You're so strong-headed and strong-willed. Fabulous stuff. Bravo Zulu to Gus Miller, because I don't know how many of these sailed in, but practically every one. Not
every year since 70.
But it's been going on since 1970. It is the class championship for Finn sailors over 40 years old and divided into the age groups. Clark Chapin spelled these out for us. 40 to 49 is the Masters. 50 to 59 is the Grandmasters. Grandmasters 60s. Legend 70s. And then Super Legends 80 and above. Bravo Zulu, Gus Miller.
You think that's a popular class?
Man, it's a tough class. It's got to be the hardest, toughest, most physical dinghy to sail. And for Gus to be still getting out there and doing it, just flying down there, a long trip. I think he lives in Rhode Island. Last I knew, he lives in Rhode Island. And just a fantastic guy. Bravo Zulu. Here, by the way, is a video, and I'm not going to play the audio. Well, you'll see why. Hey, I wasn't too wild about the audio, but I also was talking about copyright strikes. I didn't want to get a musical copyright strike, so I'm going to turn that down and just watch this beautiful video, courtesy of Robert Deves, who's the executive director of the class. He does all of their PR. Also, I think the OK Dinghy, I think the 5.5. Fairly young guy, lives in the UK, and he's the best. He sends pictures out with the names under them.
Yes.
It's timely. I mean, he must, after the racing's over, he must work into the night to get the stuff out.
Yep.
Because it's always out within a few hours after the racing is over for the day. Video and a press release and images. I mean, he's out there shooting this, I believe. And by the way, we have another Fozy, who is honorary president of honor of the Finn class, your friend and mine, Gerardo Seeliger from Spain, has been made the honorary president.
Oh, how nice.
Of the Finn. He was president, the regular leader president for years.
Yeah.
And, of course, sailed, I don't know how many Olympics, representing Spain. Gerardo Seeliger, and he was one of the Young Turks in IYRU, and I was one of the Young Turks. He was also instrumental in getting match racing into, that is Gerardo Seeliger, into the Olympics when we put it in the 90s. He headed up the Spanish America's Cup team in San Diego in 92. He was the chairman of that syndicate. Look at how close and superb this racing is. I'm going to turn that music all the way down. I don't want to risk any other crutonicism here today. Just amazing video from an amazing class. I'm sure J. Frederick Bland would love to be there sailing. These boats are kinetic. McExley 001. Who's McExley 001? That's a new name, at least on the YouTube. Even at the top level, Steve Groover is observing, even at the top level, sailboat racing is about friendship. Nicely said, Steve. Beautiful conditions. I mean, you have to be fit and you have to be good, or you wouldn't be down there doing this in the Finn class at their World Match. 3 weeks of racing at the Royal Queensland. So bravo to all. There is the group of winners, the top gang. And again, it was Brendan Casey who won. Rafael Trujillo was second, just a point behind.
Yes.
The Kiwi Carl Purdy was third, 8 points back. And then the Brit, the Portuguese, Australia. Look at all the different countries involved. Great Britain, Italy, Australia, and the Netherlands. Peter Pete. There was Gus Miller. He was second in the Super Legends. And Julia, I don't know if those were the only two Super Legends. I can't imagine there were many more. But just to finish.
Yes.
Just to make it around the court. Just to get to the regatta, Julia.
Yes.
Just to get to the regatta at age 91. I'd struggle to do that at age 72. I hate flying now. After all the millions of miles I flew, I never want to get on another airplane, even to go down and see Andy Rose and the gang at Balboa Yacht Club and do the Governor's Cup.
But it's not as elegant as it used to be.
Well, regardless, I mean, you can still fly business or first. That's
Yeah.
okay. But man, oh man. So that's it. I just want to shout out to this guy. That's what he actually looks like. I've never met him. The class executive director. I have no idea how old that photo is. I found it on the Finn class website. That is Robert Deves.
Does a
the
great
Finn
job.
class executive, and he does. He does, Julia, do a fabulous job. Okay, Julia, our next segment. What happened on this day in history? I actually have two, because this one is from yesterday. This is from the 26th. Because I found it interesting. 1935. Here is a clue. We'll see if anybody in the chat gets it.
He looks like a radio guy.
Like a commentator, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, he was a radio guy, but not the kind of radio guy you think. His name is Robert Watson Watt.
Okay.
From Great Britain. He was actually a Scot. 1892 to 1973. Peter Reckenberg's telling us that on this date, on the 27th, the 12-meter Australia KA5 was launched. So what'd this guy do, Julie? Any idea?
No.
You want another clue?
Yep.
Okay, there's your clue. I'm seeing if anybody gets it. Usually Blake Middleton goes into the website where I get a lot of this stuff, or Clark Chapin or somebody.
I like the copper.
It used a lot of copper. That is the first workable radar. Not radio transmitter. That was a good guess, though, by Steve Groover. The first workable radar developed in 1935 by this guy, Watson Watt, and his team. And I don't have a video. He certainly knew his watts, Rick Banner is saying.
Is that who Watts was named?
No, it was not. He claims that he had a relative, the guy who was the Watt was named after, but apparently the historians don't think it was really his relative. So on this yesterday, actually in 1935, radar, which is so important to us in our modern sailing and boating, is first demonstrated by Robert Watson Watt and Arnold Wilkins in Daventry, England. And of course, they knew the war was upon them, or they suspected the World War II was upon them. And this guy had been working on this and radio position, RDF, radio direction finding, for some time. And then he came up with this. I can send radio waves up, get the bounce back, and make an analysis of where and how fast even the incoming planes are coming from Germany or wherever.
Yeah.
Yesterday in history, the 26th of Feb, 1935. And I got another one I couldn't resist. You know who that is, Julia?
Walter Cronkite.
The most trusted man, he was called, in America, Walter Cronkite. He for 20 years was the CBS evening newscaster, executive producer of that newscast, and everybody watched it. It's hardly anybody watched ABC or NBC or anything else. Of course, there wasn't much else. This day in history, the 27th of February, 2026, what happened? Before we tell you what happened, he was a keen sailor, not a cruiser mostly. Claire knew him very well. They were neighbors out in the islands, and Edgartown Yacht Club member, as well as, here you see there, Julia, see that tie? New York Yacht Club tie.
Yes.
And I had dinner with him. Actually, Gary Jobson and I and Mr. Cronkite had dinner at the New York Yacht Club about a week before he passed away.
Wow.
And he became quite a good friend. He loved the America's Cup. He would always come to the America's Cup. And when I was running at San Diego in 88, 92, he came and was on my VIP boat, which was kind of the place to be.
Right.
And was, we got to know each other. That's actually from the same era. He is steering a big boat, a big Swan, I think it was that boat, called Ms. Blue.
Ms. Blue.
Greg Newman is on here, and some of the others who are actually teammates now on It's Okay. Bobby Steele.
Yes.
Were on that boat. I didn't know them. I didn't know we'd be sailing together 30 years later on It's Okay. But that's the Newport to Ensenada race, 1989. Believe it or not, the guy in the dark sunglasses on the left side, the starboard trimmer, is your host. And the guy over there on the white, that's Peter Houston. And this is the Commodore of NOSA, the Newport Ocean Sailing Association. I think that's what NOSA stands for. That's the organizing authority for that race. And by the way, they put out a release. John Sangmeister is Vice Commodore, I think, of NOSA, and he's in charge of entries, of promoting this race. And he called me the other day to say the Newport to Ensenada race, which is in early April, is on.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding the cancellation by San Diego Yacht Club of the PV, of the Puerto Vallarta race. So this race apparently will take place pending any downturn in the conditions in Mexico. Wasn't that Cronkite helming the Constitution? No, that's not the Constitution. That's a Swan called Ms. It's about a 72 footer from memory. It's a big boat. And he helmed a lot. And then he sat on the back deck after he was done with his stint. He steered during the day, a good bit of it. The race starts at noon. And took a break for dinner and then maybe steered a little more. And then he sat in the back, sat up a good bit of the night telling stories.
Neat.
And then later on, when I got to know him, Wingy, thank you, Claire, was the name of his boat that you saw a minute ago. There, I think that's Wingy that he's steering. Not the one on the left in the New York Yacht Club tie, but in the other boat. But he, I got to know him better in the America's Cup. I had him speak at one of our, hey, Claire, that reminds me, I had him speak at one of our christenings. I can't remember, it was 42. I think Bill Buckley was the speaker at the second one, and I can't remember if Mr. Cronkite was the speaker at the commissioning of either 42 or 46, the first boat or the third boat from memory. I can't remember anything anymore, Julia. But
You
I got
did
to know
very
him.
well.
And his wife, Betsy,
Yes.
who was a really bright, fabulous human being, we'd be sitting at, watching the America's Cup thing would get a little dull, and somebody would ask him, well, what was it like being over there as a reporter for whomever during World War II? And he'd start telling a story, and Betsy would say, now, Walter, that's not quite the way it happened. And he'd say, oh, Betsy, let me have some fun. Just marvelous people. And those of you who didn't know him or know of him here in the States. But what did happen on this day in history, about which that's the big swan, Ms. Blue. That's Doug Wall, the Commodore there between Peter Houston and myself. And we, Mr. Cronkite and I were the VIP guests that year for the race because I was running the Cup down in San Diego, but between 88 and 92. But he was the real. Yeah, that is a New York Yacht Club tie, and I don't know what boat he's on in that picture. Could be Constitution in Boston. Could be. What happened on this date? In 1968, he went on the air for his normal evening newscast, and he delivered a scathing editorial on America's chances of winning the Vietnam War. And that night, he turned dark on the war. Instead of just reporting all of the, the Defense Department used to come up with the number of Viet Cong killed.
Yeah.
And the number of Americans killed. And they said, oh, we're winning the war. There were 10 times as many Viet Cong killed as there were Americans today. And it was just, that was Robert McNamara and some of the, they were car makers. And they looked at everything through the filter of statistics and deaths. And he finally, I remember we were watching it, the telecast, when he went, having no idea he was going to go dark. And he did. He did big time. And that was basically the beginning of the end of the war. Notable among the media myths of the Cronkite moment is that President Lyndon Johnson watched the program, and upon hearing the anchorman's comment about a stalemate, snapped off the television and told an aide something to the effect, if I've lost Cronkite, I've lost Middle America.
I remember that, yeah.
And that was, I'm not sure that's true about LBJ, but it certainly was true that when Cronkite went negative, that was the beginning of the end of that war. Kissinger was trying to sort it out after that, and there was a lot of pressure on Nixon, who then didn't run. Remember that? Didn't run for re-election. Okay, enough of that. A great guy and a great sailor, Walter Cronkite, who on this day had a lot to do with ending that war. Another great guy who's got a new project that he's going to tell us about in his AAAA. And the first thing I want to do before I run his video is this photo which he sent. You can see him kneeling front and center. Right. You can see John Bertrand, Aussie John Bertrand, there in the back, right behind Alistair.
Yes.
And there is Victor Kovalenko, who just passed away, sadly, the super coach, and others. To go with the AAA, this is a note from Alistair. Photo from a recent captain's table lunch, including JB, Victor, Mark Turnbull, and where's Malcolm Page? He's in there somewhere. I guess he's standing up there. I guess that's Malcolm, isn't it? Standing up there next to JB. Is that right? Yeah. So what's this all about? Well, Alistair explains in his video.
G'day, Tom, Julia, and all the Fosey. This is Alistair with AAAA, Alistair's Awesome Aussie Anecdote, brought to you from beautiful Meetung, where I've been spending a lot of time lately. Great part of the world. Today I'd like to talk about my role with Australian sailing going forward, because I think it's something where we can perhaps inspire some of the other sailing authorities. And in fact, I've been speaking, had a couple of chats with Charlie Enright about how we might be able to help them think about some ways to help develop their programs as well. I'm just offering my support. So my role at Australian Sailing now is I've completed my time as president, and I'm now in charge of the commercial committee, which is charged with raising sponsorships and patrons the patronage. And it's that I'd like to talk to you about today. So I'm focusing very much on the Patrons program, which raises very much needed support for the Australian sailing team to help us achieve success, particularly at the Olympics. And my sort of what I kicked off about 6 months ago was what I call the Captain's Table Lunches. And this is a series of lunches that we've been holding around Australia. We've had 5 of them so far, and the great thing about them is that I expect each of the potential patrons or patrons to shout, as we say in Australia, is pay for the lunch, and to put it on somewhere special. And I thought I'd just read through what the guidelines are for the captain's tables. We have a vision of bringing the leading lights of our sport together around Australia for enjoyable lunches in iconic locations, not just in restaurants, but in people's offices, workplaces, on their boats, somewhere memorable. To catch up with what is happening in the world of sailing, share stories and discuss how we can make sailing stronger. We're building a network of like-minded individuals who become friends. It's a very important part of it. The participants are high-profile leaders in sailing, including the sailors, sponsors, patrons, industry leaders and administrators. The lunches are to promote Australian Sailing's Sailing 2032 platform, provide an update on the Australian Sailing team, discuss the latest developments, patronage and other forms of financial support being sought. So we also treat it as an opportunity to promote the higher level fundraising goals, to create connections to Australian sailing team athletes, to stimulate conversation, to share success stories across sailors and to help the athletes in their lives, both on and off the water. So it's to create mentoring opportunities as well for the athletes with successful, particularly business people. And it's an opportunity for participants to meet Australian Sailing board members, senior leadership team members and other passionate and prominent members within Australia's remarkable sailing community. So it's really just getting great people together, but there's a motive, and that's to help raise support for the Australian sailing team. Well, we've had 5 lunches already, each of them paid for in unbelievable locations by the people that we're actually targeting. So it hasn't cost Australian Sailing anything to do this, and we've had incredible success. The Patrons program was bumping along with half a dozen to 10 patrons over the years, and when I took this on, we had 7. In 6 months, we've increased it from that number to 20. So we've now got 20 patrons, and our goal is 40. So that's our goal, and the reason it's 40 is that the investment asked for from each person is $100,000 over 4 years. And if we can achieve this, we'll be contributing $1 million a year to the Australian sailing team and its costs and expenses. So it's more than useful. I've stepped up myself. I thought the only way to lead the charge is to not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. So I'm a patron. And as I said, $1 million a year is the goal. We're well into the program. It helps the athletes enormously. We're really on a roll. We've got 2 lunches coming up next week, actually 1 next week at Sail GP in Sydney. We hope to maybe secure a couple more patrons. And then we've got one in Melbourne the following week. And we have speakers of the likes of at these lunches. We've got Glenn Ashby in Melbourne. We had Tom Slingsby at the last one. We've got Gray Morris speaking in Sydney. We get the great athletes along to tell their stories. We've got Jason Waterhouse as well in Sydney. The outcome, well, to me, it's raising much needed funds for Australian sailing and our athletes. It actually forges strong mentoring opportunities and supportive relationships for the athletes that enables them to compete and to make that commitment to do so. But most importantly, which I think is the most important outcome of virtually everything we do in sailing, is it creates friendships. And what else are we here for? It's, as I said, we're on a roll. I'm loving doing it and looking forward to further success and hoping that others might learn from it as well and maybe set up similar programs in their countries. So that's all from me today. I hope you've enjoyed this and hope it might make a difference. Cheers, folks. Bye.
What a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
What a great idea. Apologies to Victor Kovalenko. He's alive and well. I confused him with Mike Fletcher, who was their fabulous longtime Olympic and America's Cup coach who indeed passed away, and we did quite a tribute to him here on the show a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, Alistair, thanks. Another cool AAA, as Ted Ryman is saying. Great stuff. Alistair Murray, former president of Australian Sailing. Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote.
I love his mind. I love his mind. Yeah.
He's just a ball of fire, and he's always thinking, how can I improve our beloved sport? And he's been doing that for
Let's make more friends.
as long as I've known him.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nice stuff.
Yep.
Okay, and apparently Facebook's running again. Steve Ross says it's back. Well, they said they removed the copyright strike, so who knows? You know, I won't bore you with technically what we do to check to be sure that when we're running a video, why am I got that slide up when we should be showing something else? What we do to check to be sure we're not going to get a copyright strike on something. There are ways of doing that, and you know, you can check stuff.
Right.
And we do.
Yes.
And I checked that video. Maybe it was the M word. You can't. That's a medical term, Julia.
It is.
It's not like we were calling somebody a wanker, or, you know, we were carrying on here and, you know, we'll probably get another one. Oh, God. Leaders lead best from the front. Well done, Alistair. Rick Bannerow's superb comment. Totally agree. Now, before we leave the Olympics, just a quick note. John Emmett would probably love to be in Villamoura for this event. It's going on through tomorrow, through the 28th. It's the 8th Portugal Grand Prix. It's turned into a bit of a deal. It's in Villamoura, and it's the second round. They've actually done it already once this winter because there's so many teams that train in Spain or in Portugal with a record fleet, get this, of 416 sailors from 44 countries competing across 5 of the 10 Olympic classes, the 49er, the FX, the 470, the ILCA 6, and ILCA 7. The event brings together 316 boats. Yeah, you see all the coach boats there. It's amazing when you see a picture. And 108 coaches, marking the highest participation in the history of this regatta. And they've got some stars, no surprise, real stars there. The regatta features a strong international field that includes several Olympic medalists, Odile van Aanholt, whose dad I used to race against in the Sunfish class many years ago. Dad's a hell of a good sailor. Dutch, but they grew up. I don't know if she grew up in the Netherlands or down in the Netherlands Antilles, which is where her dad was Cor van Aanholt when I first met him. But other Netherlands, gold medalist in 49er FX at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. She's a better sailor than her dad, and her dad was damn good. Is probably still. She's among the competitors in Villamoura. Sweden's Vilma Bobeck, and I think that's who we're looking at in the picture. I'm not 100% sure. Vilma Bobeck, silver medalist in the FX at Paris, down there at Marseille, is racing this season with a new crew, while her former teammate Rebecca Netzler is present at the event as a coach. Spain's Jordi Zammer, bronze medalist in the 470 class at Tokyo, is also competing, and many other great sailors at this event.
And Villamoura is a great place to sail.
Well, it's just a nice place to be.
Yeah.
Almost year-round. I mean, it gets a little chilly in January, December, January. But
not bad.
I always said that if I was going to retire someplace other than, tell me where, the States, I would love to go to Portugal. I go to Portugal. Every time I've been there, which is not that many times, but half dozen times for one regatta or another, has just been a relaxed, fun, nice people, nice food, nice sailing conditions, whether it's up in Cascais or down in the Algarve or anywhere in between.
Yeah. Conrad and I spent quite a bit of time there.
Great spot. Nice spot, nice country, nice people. That gets us to the last leg, Julia.
Yes.
And I want to reprise some of I'm not going to repeat, but I want to cover what we were covering on Tuesday and a little bit on Friday. This speaking about terrific places to retire, I don't know if it'd be a great place to retire, but certainly it is to sail. The Caribbean 600 that the RORC has put on now. I can't remember how many times, but starts here in English Harbor. And then we won't redo all that track, but it's quite a race course, as you can see here on the map. They go up to Codrington, they go over to St. Kitts, and then up and around Anguilla, back down past Montserrat, around Guadalupe, back up to Codrington, do that final triangle right here, and then come back in and finish at English Harbor to make up a 600-mile race. And remember, that's the approximate distance of the Bermuda race of Sydney Hobart, and that's a pretty standard. The Rolex Middle Sea race. They're all about 600 miles, give or take, or in fact a little more.
This has got to be the most fun, though, because they're interesting places.
Well, and beautiful places,
Yes.
and it's a challenging race. I've never sailed it, but everybody who has says it's just a terrific event, and it was again this time. I don't have the full results yet. We'll cover that next Tuesday. But Argo comes out on top in the Mod 70, and it was a match race for them for the big tries. Jason Carroll, whom we've gotten to know over the years, his Mod 70 Argo has taken multi-hull line honors in the Rourke's Caribbean 600, completing a 600-mile course in one day.
Wow.
12 hours and 1 minute in a day and a day and a half. After a ferocious race-long battle with John Desmond's Mod 70 Final Zulu. It's the name of that boat. Zalao Zulu, I think it is, which finished just over, after 600 miles in a day and a half, finished just over 3 minutes behind.
What a race.
Huh?
Yes.
Fantastic. Great stuff. Then you got the monohull line honors winner, and that, of course, is Blackjack 100. They take the monohull line honors in Antigua. That's Ramon Voss's RP 100, Reichel P 100. Blackjack, skippered by Tristan Lebrun, has taken line honors in the monohull in the 2026 RORC Caribbean, of course, after completing the 600-mile course in an elapsed time of 1 day, 20 hours, and 31 minutes. So they were just 8 hours behind the tries.
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing stuff.
Absolutely.
Our main goal is to be performant, to enjoy the race, to have a great time as a team, to do the most we can out of it, because there are several factors which you don't control in sailing. Half of it is mechanical, the other half is weather. So we try to focus on our own performance, and the race is a consequence of it, the result.
This is a fantastic boat. I'm happy to own it for a while, but it has been in hands of other people, and they looked after it very well. And I think, take over from what they started and what they've done, and it's now my opportunity to carry on that and so on and so on. But the team is great, good people, yeah, absolutely. Very inspirational people who don't need to sleep, they don't need to eat, they just want to win and sail and enjoy. All of them have sailing in their heart, they're very passionate about sailing. And for me, again, inspirational because I see what a team can do if they come together and share passion, and with drive and talent all together, with the right tools, they can do a lot. Yeah.
So what we didn't expect is that Leopard came so close to us around St. Kitts and Nevis. The race slowed down from the front. You could see it also with the trimarans. Therefore, we came back on the trimarans, and Leopard came back on us in such a way that she was actually on our shoulders.
It makes a big difference when we're racing against the likes of Lucky last year, Blackjack this year, who sailed fantastically. But it was nip and tuck the whole way around the course, and that kept everybody alive. The crew loved it, we loved it. They did a great job, and hats off to those guys. Absolutely, we learnt off them, and I'm sure they learnt off us. And I'm sure we've got more great racing to come.
On another hand, I have to say thank you to Leopard, because they pushed us further than ever throughout all these hours upwind. All sorts of setups on the boat, that is the board, the trim of the sails, do we take one reef or not? And it seems that between the start of the race and the finish of the race, we are a bit better.
Happy owner and happy captain. Bravo Zoo to them all. The Blackjack 100 crew, Ramon Voss, Tristan Lebrun, Bruce Clark, Clement Cron, Edwin Delot, Guillaume Berenger, Harley Spreadbury Key, Jelmer Van Beek, Jordan Van, I don't know, Ruyen, I don't know, Martin Kirketerp, Ibsen, Matute Howe, Dutch names, I guess. Max Deckers, Robin Jacobs, Rokas Milevichis, that's the Slavic name. Romain Testa, Rutger Voss, it must be his son, or brother, or I guess son. Shane Hughes, Sofiane Bouvet, Terry Fouché, great sailor, and Bram, there's a comma there. I don't know what that means. Is that two different people, Bram and von Spangen, or is that a first name Bram and a comma that shouldn't be there? Von Spangen's the last name. I don't know. Okay, I've read the names. You all think we should be not only putting the names in, but reading them. So that's the best I can do. Sorry if I butchered a few of them. But bravo Zulu to that whole, to Mr. Doctor and the Maxi Regatta, to everybody involved in the RORC. Magnus has written about this, Magnus Wheatley, about they're just going from strength to strength in the Rourke and in various events. And
Blackjack's been around for a long time.
Well, yeah, it was an Aussie boat. Remember, we had it was in the Sydney Hobart, and we had who was the captain? My old friend. Somebody remind me in the chat who's been the captain of that boat when it was an Aussie boat, and we'll see if the Aussies get it back for Sydney Hobart, or if this guy, Mr. Ramon, is that his name? Take it down there for Sydney Hobart this year. Julia, just one cartoon here in the D block.
Better be a good one.
We're just under 2 hours. We're at 14:56. We've been going at it for a couple hours, as we normally do on Tuesdays and Fridays. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And here is the one cartoon. Since we've been talking about Australia this whole show, passengers must empty their pockets. And the Roo's got the baby Roo. I hope they didn't go through the machine. That wouldn't be very good. Or
Why
about
not?
to go through them. Well, you don't want to subject them to the radiation of the machine. A funny cartoon nonetheless, I thought, since we've been talking about the Sail GP event that's soon to start. Greg Phillips, as I said, sent that one.
He has lots of them.
He has, Julia. He's become our cartoon king. Blake Sail, it's fine if you do, you say them as best you can. Well, that's true, and I'm a bit of a crouton, a simple country boy from Michigan who doesn't know how to say most of those names, Julia.
And besides that, it's hard to know personal preferences, even if you know what a generic good French
Well,
word
it's like
would
your
be.
it's like your name.
Yes.
I pronounce it the German way.
Yep.
And no one else does.
No.
I say Wedekind.
Yes.
And the D is pronounced in German like a T, Wedekind.
Right.
The W like a V, obviously.
Right.
And you say Wedekind.
Wedekind.
Oh, you say Wedekind.
Yeah.
Well, if you go to the bank or we go to the, one of your doctor's appointments, Wedekind, they can get that.
Yeah.
And my last name is no easy name for people to pronounce. They don't know if it's Ekman, Erman, Elman, Amon. So I just tell them whatever's in your heart. Whatever's in your heart. Thanks, Greg Phillips. Much appreciated. Thanks, Blake Middleton, for your final cartoon here. It's not really a cartoon, but I think it's a good
aphorism.
Yeah, for our show, really.
Yeah.
All the smartest people sail. And as my beloved father likes to say, sailing who's still a great sailor. I think his knees and hips have given up, but so he's not doing much anymore, not competitive racing at age 90, whatever he is, almost 93. Sailing isn't fun for everybody, but it is
for
anybody, Julia, which gets us to the finish line. And it's where you like to say.
Yes, always good to remind you to like, follow, and share.
Does help
three.
us. Does help us
Yeah.
with the algorithm when we're not getting knocked off. But apparently Facebook's running again. I saw a couple of people say that.
Yeah.
They removed the copyright strike. They should have never taken us off their croutonic Facebook.
Besides, we're just we're not a commercial operation.
Well, they don't care about that. And we don't. We try really hard not to break any of the rules and not have copyright strikes. For 10 years of doing this and over 900 shows, and
we've never had one really stick, have we?
No, we haven't, because I usually appeal and then they all back away and so on. But they go after you and then ask questions. They expect you to go back and ask for a review, and then they almost always get rid of them. But we're not. Again, what normally they do now is that if you're monetizing a show and you use somebody else's music, somebody's copyrighted material, you won't get to monetize that show. And I think for Facebook in the last month, for our shows that ran on Facebook, I think, and we get a lot of views. We get a couple thousand plus views on Facebook. We don't get that many on YouTube. But I think I got a check the other day for $17.30. Well, that was a monthly check, Julia, from Facebook.
Wow!
So that's how we count on those of you who support us. That was not a plug to get a segue to this. It's you folks that support us on patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. That support is what allows us to pay our streaming fees, to have this equipment, so that Julia can have a new microphone. She still doesn't like it.
No, I keep wanting to buy it.
Well, I can change the color. Would you rather it be blue? I have a...
Oh, no. I mean, it's just that it's...
Right in your face. But
right
the audio,
in my face.
the audio's a lot better.
Okay.
And the other thing, I don't have audio bleed from my voice to your mic, because that's a dynamic mic that only picks up very...
And the audio is all important.
And the audio is more important than the video.
I know. I've learned that.
So that's it for us today. Thank you very much. So not only all of you who support us each month with a little Patreon contribution or otherwise, every now and then a check comes in the mail.
Over the counter, which is welcome.
Over the counter, under the door, over the door.
Through the door.
Patreon supporters, key. Blake Middleton there. Blake Sale's been one of our Patreon contributors since day one.
Yes.
Great guy. And also these people who give us audio, images, and video, let us use theirs for today's show. It's quite a long list, as usual, every day. And a reminder, thanks to them, but also, Julia, a reminder that we will be watching...
Welcome to the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix.
I'm not shilling for Sail GP, but I think a lot of people will be watching. Hopefully there's no damage. I won't use the C word again, but hopefully everybody's safe and sound, and we have a couple of good medium air races, medium air days tonight, our time, and tomorrow night, but Saturday and Sunday down under. Turn off the media and go sailing, Ed Worley says. It's probably a good idea too, but that event, again, on the timing, if you didn't hear us at the top of the show, it is 17:30, late in the afternoon Sydney time, 17:30 local. It's 6:30 UTC. So those of you in Europe, it's at 06:30 Saturday morning and Sunday morning for you, 6:30 in London, 7:30 on the continent. And then tonight, for us, it's 22:30 here, Friday and Saturday nights, if you're going to watch it on YouTube or whatever other streaming service
or
might be available to you.
Yeah.
Streaming YouTube is where they run it.
Right.
And it's pretty well available around the world on YouTube.
Yes.
It's blocked some places locally because they've got it on television in certain jurisdictions. Everybody, we hope you have a great weekend. We hope Sail GP is safe. We hope you will join us next Tuesday when we do this all again. And in the meantime, go sailing, as Ed Worley says. And if you do, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.